She was curled up on the windowsill, just like every morning for 11 years. But this time, she didn't turn her head. She didn't stretch. She didn't blink slowly the way she always did that quiet cat version of I love you. She just stared out the window, still and distant, somewhere else entirely. And her owner stood in the doorway thinking the same thoughts so many cat lovers have had. Something's different. And I don't know what it means. Cats are masters at hiding what they feel. It's practically written into their biology. So by the time you notice something is wrong, your cat has often been dealing with it quietly for a while. Here are the behaviors worth watching for, what they might mean, and the one most owners completely misunderstand. 1. The quiet withdrawal. The most commonly reported change is simple. A cat starts pulling away. Maybe they stop greeting you at the door or disappear under the bed for hours. From the cat's perspective, when something feels wrong internally, instinct tells them to find somewhere small, dark, and safe. It's not rejection, it's self-protection. Elena noticed her 14-year-old tabby, Miso, spending more time behind the couch instead of on her desk at first. She thought he was just being moody, until she realized the pattern was consistent, day after day. 2. Sudden clinginess. Here's the twist: almost no one expects some cats do the complete opposite, suddenly wanting to be near you constantly, following you room to room, sleeping pressed against your side. This can look like plain affection, and sometimes it is. But it can also be a cat seeking safety and reassurance because something feels wrong. One cat pulls away, another holds on tighter. Both can be signs of the same underlying discomfort, expressed in opposite directions. 3. Changes in grooming. Cats are famously clean animals, so when a well-groomed cat suddenly looks disheveled, patchy fur, a duller coat, less time spent washing it stands out. Grooming takes energy and physical comfort that pain or fatigue can quietly take away. Raj noticed his cat Biscuit's fur looking oddly matted along her back, an area she used to groom perfectly, and assumed she was just slowing down with age, until a friend pointed out it might be something more. 4. Eating and drinking changes. This is often the moment fear sets in. A cat skipping meals, sniffing food and walking away, or drinking noticeably more or less water can be significant, but it can also point to dental pain, stress, a stomach upset, or simply not liking a new food. Either way, appetite changes are one of the clearest signals that something needs a veterinarian's attention. Sometimes it shows up as a cat who used to inhale their food now nibbling half-heartedly before walking off. Other times it's the opposite: a cat suddenly drinking from the faucet, the toilet, anywhere they can find water, far more than their usual routine. Because eating and drinking are so tied to basic survival, changes here tend to escalate faster than other symptoms, which is exactly why they deserve quick attention rather than a wait-and-see approach. 5. Altered sleep patterns. Sleeping more is normal for cats, but sleeping differently isn't. A cat who suddenly sleeps in unusual positions, in unusual places, or seems harder to rouse than before may be conserving energy the body doesn't have to spare. It's an easy change to miss, because cats sleep a lot is exactly the assumption that lets it slide by unnoticed. Some owners notice their cat choosing colder, harder surfaces to sleep on instead of their usual soft bed, almost as if trying to regulate a body temperature that feels off. Others notice the opposite, a cat suddenly seeking out warm spots obsessively, curling up on heating vents or sunny patches for hours longer than normal. The shift in where and how a cat sleeps often says more than the amount of sleep itself. 6. Unusual vocalization. Some cats become unusually quiet, almost as if they've gone still inside. Others do the opposite, crying more, especially at night, in a tone that sounds different from their normal meow. Both can reflect discomfort, a cat can't express any other way, and both are easy to explain away as just a mood. A normally chatty cat going silent for days can be just as telling as a normally quiet cat suddenly yowling at 3 a.m. For no obvious reason. Owners sometimes describe the sound itself as different, lower, rougher, or more urgent than their cat's usual voice, almost like the tone itself is trying to communicate something words never could. Paying attention to changes in pitch or frequency, not just volume, can reveal a lot. 7. Changes in movement or posture. Stiffness getting up, hesitating before jumping onto a favorite spot, a hunched or tense-looking posture. These are physical changes that often get quietly attributed to getting older. Sometimes that's all it is, but movement changes can also be one of the clearest physical signs that something is uncomfortable. A cat who once leapt effortlessly onto the counter might start pausing, calculating, or simply choosing not to try at all. Others may walk with a slightly lower gait, tail held differently, or spend more time sitting in a hunched loaf position that looks tighter and more guarded than their usual relaxed sprawl. These shifts can be subtle enough that owners only notice them in hindsight once they start comparing old videos or photos to how their cat moves now. 8. Changes in litter box habits and interaction with their favorite person. Accidents outside the box, straining or noticeably less use, can point to a real problem. At the same time, how a cat behaves with their favorite person often shifts to pulling away from someone they usually adore or suddenly needing them more than ever. This is the sign most owners misread. Many people believe cats know and go hide completely alone, but it's more myth than fact. What actually happens is subtler. Cats often gravitate toward familiar, quiet spots near the people or places that feel safest, not to isolate, but to conserve energy somewhere predictable. It's instinctual comfort seeking, the same way we crawl into bed when we're unwell. Here's the mistake so many loving owners make. They wait, not out of neglect, but out of hope. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it'll pass. The real lesson is that it's rarely one single behavior that matters. It's the pattern. Elena's cat hiding behind the couch meant very little on its own. It was only once she noticed he'd also stopped eating his favorite treats and was drinking far more water that she knew it was time to call the vet. If you notice 2 or more of these changes together, especially if they come on suddenly, don't wait it out, get it checked. None of these behaviors on their own mean your cat is dying. Cats hide, sleep more, eat less, or seek extra affection for all kinds of reasons. But if several changes show up together, or your cat shows difficulty breathing, real weakness, or visible pain, reach out to your vet promptly. You don't need to diagnose your cat, you just need to notice. Sometimes, understanding your cat isn't about hearing what they say. It's about noticing what they quietly show you. Has your cat ever shown one of these behaviors? Share your story in the comments and subscribe for more videos grounded in real feline behavior and psychology.